Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my monthly review for this month's issue of the Walking Dead comic book series. This is for issue 169. It's called Lines We Cross. And spoiler warning as usual, if you guys have not read this issue yet, you definitely want to read it before you watch this review. I'm going to recap it and give my thoughts on each part of the issue. That said, there's no major deaths or anything like that for this issue, so no big deal. If you guys haven't read it yet, I guess you can watch this review, and that's fine. So this issue hit today, which is July 5th, 2017, and I was pretty excited for it as usual. Lines We Cross. It's got a pretty cool cover. You got Rick there, and Dwight's got the gun to the back of his head. Some nice red with the black around. It's a pretty cool cover, and gave my thoughts on this one a while ago when we saw the cover reveal. I got some interesting issues coming up and some different stuff happening. It looks like the focus going forward, at least for this story arc, is probably going to be this new group who Eugene has been communicating with Stephanie. So Stephanie is the voice that he's been hearing. At least that's the name that she's given Eugene, and we'll have to see what this new group is all about. It looks like they are positioned somewhere near Ohio. So we've got Eugene and his group, Michonne and a few others, Siddiq and Magna. They're heading out to meet with whoever this Stephanie person is, and we had that princess cover, which was kind of funny. I gave my thoughts on it. If you haven't seen it, it's in the channel. Just go to the channel, type in princess, or look for the Walking Dead cover with the funny colored clothes on the on the female, who's rather short, rather stunted. So that's funny. So check that out. It just looks like a different direction. So far, what I'm thinking about this group is, to me, I'm thinking like right now, it'll probably be a group of good guys or of allies is what I'm thinking. Now, of course, there's no way to know going in, and they could be another group of villains, but just from the cover and everything, it being so silly, it kind of looks to me like it would be a group that eventually will be allies, but we'll have to see. I mean, I suppose you could go with like a goofy, silly villain group or something like that. But I just don't know. And also the distance is so long. If it was a group of villains, you'd have to think like, is it worth it for them to, set this kind of thing up and then trap them and then, try to use that against the other group or something, travel all the way back to where Rick and the others are at, Alexandria, and then somehow it's really tough to say right now. You guys can write your comments below on whether or not you think this group is going to be a group of allies or villains. To me, so far, I would lean towards allies is what I'm thinking. But again, you never know. It could be some kind of twist or something. So we got all that going on. We have Carl at the grave. So I like this one where at the beginning of the issue, he basically tells Lydia about what happened with Ben and Billy and Andrea and Dale, which was pretty cool. So he lets her know kind of the whole story, and then he gives us some information that we didn't really know, which is that, or at least so far as I can remember, unless this wasn't an issue and I just don't remember it, where he actually told Andrea that he was the one who did it, and she said that she loved him anyway, or she loved him unconditionally, and that's what that's what Rick told him that parents do. They love their children unconditionally, regardless of what they do. That's just how it is. And then he says, that's when I started calling Andrea Mom. So I like that. I thought that was really good, and that kind of shed some more light on their relationship and on when Carl kind of accepted Andrea as his sort of stepmom, so to speak, which was really cool. So I did like that one a lot. We have some good stuff with Maggie in this one, which I really like too, because Maggie, with the Walking Dead comic book series, one of our characters and also a leader of her own group in her own right, but one of our characters that's been around the series for a very long time. Here's a season 2 shirt, and check this out. I've had this thing forever. The collar's like all worn and stuff, right? So that's cool, back at the farm, right? So she's been in the show and in the comic book series forever at this point, right? And it's really cool to kind of see her kind of grow as a character to an A-lister in her own right, and she's been an A-lister for quite a while. The TV series, we're starting to see that more now. The comics, she's been an A-lister for a super long time. But it's really cool to kind of get to see her go at a different position in this one, which is where, of course, and this is the big thing about the issue, Rick asks Negan to leave, so Negan decides to or agrees that he's going to leave, get his freedom back. I suppose he figures that he's earned it after the Whisper War and what he was able to do there. So Rick releases Negan, gives him some food and maybe a rifle or something, and sends him on his way. But of course, Maggie can't let that go. So Maggie asks Dante to follow him, which is really, really cool. I like that a lot, and find out where he's going to go. And I also like for Negan that it looks like he wants to retire. To be honest, from what he said here, he says basically he's going to go back to his old neighborhood where his old lady used to live with him. His wife Lucille and that, and basically just settle down, I suppose. For Negan, that's probably going to be pretty hard. But I would say just surviving on his own out there, living, whatever. That's kind of like, I suppose, zombie apocalypse retirement if you had to. The closest thing you're going to get to it compared to leading the Saviors, bashing people's heads in with baseball bats and all that kind of stuff that Negan's been up to. So I really like this one. I like the way Charlie draws her face where she tells him to follow him, right? And also that I think that's really kind of you, Rick. When she finds out that Rick is going to let him go, she just can't let that go. So I really like how this is being set up kind of as a cat and mouse situation, where Negan this time is the mouse, and it looks like Maggie is going to go after him. So really cool setup there. I really like that a lot. That was good. We've got Rick and Eugene, their conversations about the radio. Stephanie, Rick Grimes wants to meet. Siddiq having told him. We've got Dwight being angry at Rick. So this was a really cool, consequence of what happened with Sherry. Dwight admits that he did love Sherry, even after all the things that happened, and who Sherry ended up, becoming. And we can really see that probably more so in the TV series, I want to say, than even in the comics, especially this season with season 7, that Dwight and Sherry, even if things have not worked out and they've been kind of, at odds or different situations, different groups, and had problems, Dwight still did love Sherry, and Rick killed her. So as a result, Dwight, of course, does not trust Rick at all, does not believe him. And Rick doesn't, at first he tells him that he was defending himself, but then after, he kind of threatens Dwight in this one. And he kind of leads it to the situation to, he tells him about this rage that's building up inside of him and just wanting to get out at any time. And that almost made me think, that's not going to convince Dwight that you didn't kill Sherry. That's going to make him think that you let that rage out, you unleash that on her maybe. So Rick goes a different route rather than just convince. He does try to convince him. When that doesn't work, though, he kind of goes for a fear type of stance, like wanting Dwight to be scared of him, and that this wouldn't work for Dwight to try to take over leadership or overthrow Rick. And I did kind of like what Kirkman did with this one here and kind of setting this up. As a result of what happens there, Dwight is the closest person to Rick of anybody else. Maggie tells Dwight to look after Rick for her, take care of Rick for her. And all of Rick's people have basically been sent out. You got Maggie; she's going off with Carl to rebuild the hilltop and the Barrington house. You've got Michonne and Eugene and the others. They're heading out to meet this group. So Rick is left with, among others as well too. You got Jesus; he's in there somewhere. But you've got basically Dwight, who could be an internal threat here, and him wanting to kind of take over the communities, or at least Alexandria. Which is perplexing to Rick because, he didn't continue to lead the Savers when Rick wanted him to. But it was just a cool kind of standoff, and I felt like it was pretty intense, and also seeing, where's this going to go, and I was pretty surprised by Rick's direction, that he kind of, he denied it, but then he did something that might lead Dwight to believe that he had actually killed Sherry because of this internal rage that he has that he keeps at bay. And then he also says, he lost his wife, this kind of thing. He doesn't need this right now, that kind of deal. And, of course, Dwight still being mad about Sherry, I think, is totally understandable. But, I think at the same time that right now, based on how everything is laid out, you look at where everyone is, Rick really does need Dwight, and Dwight could be a really strong threat if Dwight does decide, screw this, he's going to take Rick out or something. I don't know if Rick's going to be able to really stop him. It'd be tricky for sure, because he needs Dwight to kind of lead his forces, and Dwight did a really good job of leading during the time when, of course, you had the Whisper War going down, Negan in the mix, and Beta attacking. Dwight was pretty much the one, I want to say, who mostly stopped the Whispers in and of himself, right? He was the field leader, and he mainly was the one who did it. It wasn't really Rick, but Rick kind of takes all the credit for it and Dwight blames him for the Saviors kind of rising up and all the things that happened. Blames him for what happened there. So really great lead-ups in this issue. Some really great starts to some build-ups that we're seeing with where the story's going to go here. Always love reading the Walking Dead comic book series. Even though this issue, it was mostly a setup issue. We have new storylines starting. We have new things beginning to come through. We didn't really, there's no payoffs or anything like that in this issue because, except for maybe, stuff from Carl and letting us know and Lydia know through exposition of explaining that about his relationship with Andrea and why he started calling her mom. So it's pretty cool. But all around, it was mainly a setup issue for the new story arcs that we have going after the end of the Whisper War and them rebuilding the communities. So really excited for this new setup. Interested to see how this mission goes to Ohio because it is further than what they usually travel. It'll be cool to see them traversing the zombie apocalypse world at this point because you just have, so much time has passed from the beginning. So it'll be cool to see this group, traveling a long distance and what the world looks like now a couple years into the zombie apocalypse versus just like 6 months or a year or something. It's been quite a while they've been in the zombie apocalypse now. So to see them, go through it is going to be cool to see what they encounter along the way and just what it looks like. So in terms of the issue, I'm going to give it an 8.6 out of 10. It's a great new start to a new story arc for The Walking Dead. Always fun, always interesting. Always love getting the new issues, even if it's mostly the start to a new type of story. So that'll be it for my review, guys. I hope you liked the issue. I did like a lot of the different build-ups here, possibly Dwight and Rick at odds, and then also, of course, Maggie wanting to get her vengeance for Glenn on Negan. If you guys like this review, then leave a comment below. Let me know what your favorite part of the issue was and what you think is going to happen. Maybe do some predictions. Maybe we could do a predictions video for this one. I'll let you guys know if I decide to do that next few days. If you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can also share and favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, always appreciate it, guys. Thank you for continuing to support the channel, subscribe, all that stuff. Really appreciate you guys. So new viewers, you can subscribe to bottom left. That's it for this video. See you guys again soon for another. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace. Later, guys. I'll see you soon.